Recording this video, close of trade Friday 27th of January 2012. Pretty uninteresting day today. I think at best the top to bottom range was about 10 points. 1.4 million contracts traded. It was always going to be a quiet day after Wednesday being a trend day up, Thursday being a trend day down. You know, after trend days things kind of settle down and kind of get a little bit quiet, so that's what we had today. I did two trades today, ended up minus 1.25 points. The first one was a loss of 1, the second one was a loss of 1/4. The first trade I was in it for maybe an hour and it kind of went nowhere. The trend direction was just really not there today, so rather than trying to overtrade and make a trading day out of a day where there's not the volatility, I'd rather kind of get out with a small loss and just leave it at that. I'll tag on my day trades just because people are interested in the kind of the day trades and what I'm looking at when I'm seeing my kind of setups, but to be honest, the setups just didn't go anywhere today because there was no trend. Anyway, so 1.4 million contracts traded. Still think we're kind of trying to top out. You start seeing these, this thing won't be able until we see pullback to end of trend on the 135-minute chart, but you start to see on the lower time frames, kind of end of trend signals signaling around the kind of left shoulders of this. So if you go down to the 45-minute chart, for example, we've got an end of trend on that kind of spike up kind of here. 81-minute chart, I think the same thing's kind of showing up. So I do think we'll have some weakness Monday, Tuesday. I actually thought that last Friday, kind of leading into Monday, Tuesday as well, but we've just basically spent the week kind of holding a little bit of pop after the Apple numbers, FOMC and so on, and just waiting for those markets to kind of roll over. They're losing a little bit of steam, some of the kind of risk-on markets, but we'll kind of wait and see. So that pullback to end of trend sequence is still kind of, for me, kind of out there. So a question of when that actually happens. And then if I go to the higher time frame tip bar charts here, 40,500 tip bar chart, this is kind of this, we've had our exhaustion buying, bearish divergence, flush signals kind of up here, Rambo patterns into those highs. You can see them 1, 2, 3, 4 kind of there, just showing the amateurs kind of getting excited at the tops there, and I think the professionals are just using it to get out. So today we kind of settled in at this kind of support level on 40,500. We're kind of playing out to this kind of cyclical turn, but it's really weak. It's like we've got weaker and weaker buying kind of going on. 13,500, kind of trend day up, trend day down. And then the weakness that we had in today, blue professional bars kind of into the lows here. Look at all these bullish divergence patterns right on the zero line, just catching us there. So a small overshoot of the support level is caught by the support level on the next time frame up, unless it turns into a trend move. So that's kind of what happened there today. And then you can see into the close, kind of blue professional bars, kind of a little bit of a swing down. We'll wait and see Sunday night, how the market kind of reacts and so on. But I think it's looking for some kind of swing down. So that's kind of the highest time frame tip bar charts. If you look at the 4,500, I mean, these are the swings on a low range day. That's the thing, is to try and catch these swings on the 4,500 tip bar chart, especially when they coincide with end of trend signals on the 500 tip bar chart. But really there just weren't any much today. I was trying to get short through this move here. I was in a little bit early. I was short on that amateur up bar. Then kind of reversed and thought this kind of sequence of blue professional bars would break up into an uptrend, and of course it didn't, went the other way. Kind of dumped out as soon as that wasn't working out, just kind of got out there. And then I suppose the move of the day was from this support level into towards the end of the day, but it was pretty tricky going. Wasn't anything obvious in terms of just these bullish divergence, and we'd kind of been into that level before. Anyway, I hope if you were trading today you did a better job. I actually got a great email from Alan just talking about how he took short trade. He got 8 points out of this move, kind of pre the open, using better sine wave and better X trend, which is kind of interesting. I put on his quote onto the X trend page. And just to follow up on X trend, so now I've got the code on the site for NinjaTrader and multi-chart, so I'll put a link back to that at the bottom of this post. Quick note on virus kind of protection software, people importing some of the Ninja files. If you've got your virus protection software kind of cranked up, sometimes they don't like Ninja files kind of being downloaded. The reason for that, and they'll kind of flag so there's a virus on the zip file or whatever. That is not the case. What is happening is your virus protection software doesn't recognize a couple of the files, the Ninja type files, within the zip file, and so their default is just to say, look, I don't recognize this, therefore it's a virus. It's like, that's not the case. I'm not sending you a virus. You're not downloading a virus. So just FYI, don't email me saying that I put a virus on the zip file. It's not appreciated. Anyway, so there we go. I'll tag on these day trades, but like I said, it's real slow going and nothing much happens at the end of the day. So not recommended viewing. Enjoy your weekend. Short 1025. Short 1025. Checking my stops and targets. Bit of a tricky day today. That's good. So trying to figure out direction of the market. So since the open we've had a bounce into kind of 1314, up at 1314 on the 1500 tip bar chart. We'd had exhaustion buying, first bearish divergence, and then a flush pattern. Didn't kind of get in here, although we did have blue fractional bar on the 4500 tip bar chart, and it was a turning point here. Just because unsure about the direction of the market. I think today's going to be a fairly low range day, just because we've had two trend days, kind of trend day up, trend day down. It's good. So kind of initially held at support here on the 1500 tip bar chart, but just had 500 were broken into a downtrend because we're below support, and this push back up, we get close to support becomes resistance. It was actually a Rambo pattern here, bang, just getting in the break of the low of that Rambo bar, ended up being an amateur up bar, which I like. So this to me looks like a little bit of a downtrend, so that retracement being led by the amateurs, kind of break the lows, suggest that we're kind of on the way down, and we'll kind of finish up with something like a pullback to end of trend move on the 500 tip bar chart that will coincide with a support move on 45. So targets at 625. Let's see where it goes. Well, that was a bit of a surprise. Got to 1309 and just rocketed up, but it's being led by the amateurs. Another Rambo pattern into cyclical resistance here on 500, and we're coming up to resistance on 15. Kind of odd move, but it is the kind of thing that kind of freaks people out, kind of shakes them out of positions. So holding on to see if this kind of rolls over. At some point, if I'm right about the direction, it kind of gets people kind of wrong-footed, plus kind of exhausts the buyers at that point. So might rush quickly the other direction. So just wait and see. 1 minute later, seemingly we're coming the other way. It was kind of an amateur bar on 1500 tip bar chart, kind of on the way up. It was in this kind of section here. Blue professional bar on the 500 tip bar chart, kind of breaking the lows, so that might be kind of professionals kind of getting short at that point. It was an amateur up bar on 45, so all of that seems to make sense as this kind of amateur retracement. So I suppose that was a better entry if I'd waited for this kind of break point here, but yeah, I'm happy with what I've got. So let's see where it goes. A couple of minutes later, kind of bounce back up to 1312, but yeah, we bounced from this blue professional bar into a couple of blue professional bars, another cyclical turning point here, so it's just looking like a little bit of a kind of complex correction here, and then we kind of come on down again. There we go, back down to 11 and a quarter. Taking a little bit of heat on this trade, but just expecting today to be a little bit less trendy, just to be more kind of caught. Okay, and that was just blue professional bar. I'm just bouncing up from that. Let's just see, at half point. So bearish divergence coming on the 1500 tip bar chart. 12.5 supports now in on 45. Don't know, wait and see on the 1500. This is all fairly weak stuff. Okay, not good, not good. 14 and a quarter's the stop. And I know it's another flash pattern here, getting super close to it. Blue professional bar kind of up here, initially breaking the lows of it. Must admit, it does feel like just a complex correction on the way up here. But yeah, just have to wait and see. It looks like the stop's going to get hit, but sometimes you get lucky, so wait and see. It's not clear on the trend direction today. I don't think it's going to be a trendy day, in which case, the best plan is to actually wait for end of trend signals on the 500 tip bar chart when they coincide with support and resistance on 45 and kind of trade those. But let's see what happens. I maybe got away with it this time. Back down 11 and a quarter. It's kind of Rambo pattern. We've got support kind of due on 500 tip bar chart, but it's coming down the other way, so this is kind of good. So 1500 tip bar chart testing back up, having had exhaustion, bearish divergence, flush and flush again. Blue professional bars at the high here, so maybe we've got the trend direction right, which would be nice. 500 tip bar chart. So the initial break we got here, seemingly into a downtrend, didn't kind of work out. We kind of tested back up, but now we'll put in support here at some point, and then hopefully we'll get another break to the downside on the 4500 tip bar chart. This is maybe looking suspect, so maybe we'll get a little bit more kind of movement to the downside. So it's funny how things can come good really quickly. We're kind of back to break even, having been 3+ points against me. So it's an amateur down bar on 1500 tip bar chart. It's coming back into congestion though, so just wait and see what happens. A minute later, and it looks like we're falling through support on the 500 tip bar chart. Blue professional bar just kind of came in. This will be interesting. Is this falling through the ice, or is this kind of professionals picking it up after this kind of retrace? Amateur down bar here, into cyclical support on 1500 tip bar chart. So we'll know soon enough. Minus 8,000 on the 1500 tip bar chart. So let's see if we keep this downdraft kind of going. We'll break this recent low at 9 and keep going otherwise. Now it looks like a downtrend continuation, just because we've got these flush patterns, bang bang bang. Okay, just had exhaustion selling off on the 1500 tip bar chart. Blue professional bar here, it's pro signal exit, but not inclined to get out, just because changes in trend. We need bullish divergence on 1500 before that kind of change in trend. So just hoping that we're kind of breaking through the support level on the 500 into a downtrend here, where we'll get kind of pullback to end of trend. And this will kind of continue on down. It's kind of this is the change in trend we need, and then we add this on the reverse side. So we are breaking through 45, and highest time frame still in a downtrend on 13,500. So yeah, let's keep with it. So here's the breakdown to 8 and a quarter, looking for 6 and a quarter. So definitely in a downtrend now on the 500 tip bar chart. So hopefully the entry wasn't too bad, that we'll get a decent move down. Well, we got a double exhaustion selling signal kind of down here at 1308 and bounced from there back to the entry point, but it's into Rambo patterns here. We've got cyclical resistance coming in on the 500 tip bar chart. Hopefully that'll be the pullback signal that will go to end of trend. I mean, the entry wasn't great. If I'd been entering in the 12s or 13s up here, then we'd kind of almost be out. But who knows? Let's keep going, because we've got to see bullish divergence before the trend is over. So still holding short. Okay, and so this retrace into an amateur bar was pretty high reading, about 7,000 on better momentum. So and because that's happening kind of previous peak, it's almost like kind of exhausting the sellers at that point. It was exhaustion on 500 tip bar chart, and we're kind of coming back down again. So I'm hoping that was just amateur up bar test, and that we've got a bit of a downtrend on our hands. So still hanging around the entry point. It's been a while. It's 9:56 a.m. This trade has taken a long time, but to be expected after 2 trend days. Was going to be a kind of a quiet day anyway. So here we go. We're up to 9.5. So still holding short. Okay, this is where things get a little bit different. We've 500 tip bar chart gone into a pullback to end of trends. This amateur bar we kind of bounced off here, just had bullish divergence kind of go off. So yeah, this is looking more like, we had our exhaustion selling kind of down here. Just been using this pattern to kind of top out, and then we exhausted down again at a similar level and just formed bullish divergence. I just don't buy the uptrend, but cyclical support's kind of coming, and this has flipped around now, and we got this first kind of end of trends kind of coming off after flush at the end of trend. So let's just wait to next kind of test down bar on 15 and see what to do. Could be time to get out and reverse, but let's wait and see. It just reverse went long 11.25. Just checking my stops and targets now. So loss of 1 point on that first trade, but just checking my stops and targets. So the reason for reversing and going long, amateur down bars here on the 500 tip bar chart into support. Same thing on the 1500 tip bar chart and the 4500 tip bar chart. So we've had exhaustion selling the first bullish divergence signal here, and this thing's kind of finding it difficult to get through these kind of lows. So that amateur down bar is kind of significant as a testing bar. So let's see, this is close to the zero line. I suppose I would expect kind of a flush pattern, so maybe jump in a gun, but anyway, so let's see, long 11.25. Okay, good little sign here, two blue amateur professional bars, 13.11, breaking the highs of that, so kind of buying into this kind of breakout above 13.12, kind of getting set there. Another blue professional bar. And this whole sequence, 1500 tip bar charts, a blue professional bar, and because we're breaking the highs of that, I think the pros are kind of buying this breakout, so that's kind of good. Okay, here we go, breakout to 12.25. Kind of retrace a little bit back into kind of the acquisition zone here where the professionals kind of bought it up. Blue professional bar and 4500 tip bar chart, so just looking for a breakout here. Now I've had kind of end of trend here, but it's not unusual to get a sequence of these on the 500 tip bar chart, so and this exhaustion buying could have been just kind of setting this move off. So it's hoping for 15.25. Well, I just couldn't get through 12.5. Blue professional bars, whole series of them kind of came in 1500 tip bar chart and 45. Pass down here is on an amateur down bar, so amateur's kind of selling, so into cyclical support. Hopefully we've kind of got rid of some sellers here and kind of can break out. It's just one of those days. 40,500 tip bar chart. We've got support here, and on the 4,500, this is pullback to end of trend, second cyclical turn after end of trend, and then kind of seemingly holding here. So let's see, just hoping for a breakout. Okay, here we go. So that was exhaustion selling. Blue professional bar kind of comes in after the amateur bar here, breaking the highs of that. So hopefully we'll get through 12.5, 13. I'm just going to keep my stop at 15. I know I'm down 1 point on the first trade, but just be happy with anything. Just kind of be out of this slow market. It's 10:26 a.m. and a blue professional bar, 1500 tip bar chart. So looks like it's winding up for a kind of a breakout move. Resistance just come in on 45. So this becomes 11 becomes kind of the critical zone. So if we break below that, then this kind of losing confidence. So hopefully that was the last chance to kind of get into this breakaway move. It'll go up. Just came out of that trade at 11 even. For loss of a quarter. And it's not kind of convincing today. I would have thought with this kind of pattern underneath these highs we'd have broken out. I know we're maybe going to make a flush pattern here. Just ugly day. What is it, 10:30 a.m. Just been in and out of two trades in an hour and a half or something, so I'm just going to leave it at that. So down 1.25 for the day, 2 trades, and no, I think it's going to break out, but like I said at the beginning of the day, 2 trend days in a row today is going to be a low range day, and I don't want to get chopped up on a low range day. So there we go. Hope you traded better than me.